Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. What was it you wanted to tell me? I was sort of hoping that it might. Testing, testing. What was it you wanted to tell me? I was sort of hoping that it might. Cool. Cool. What was it you wanted? All right. All right, let's. Back to it. We were moving in that place, I replied, keeping my voice low despite the nearly empty restaurant. I replied, keeping. She changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a faded sweatshirt, but the severe bun remained, pulling her features taut. You came, she said as I slid into the seat across from her. Wasn't sure you would. Of course. What was it you wanted to tell me? I was sort of hoping that it might be a bit more about what the hell we were moving in that place, I replied, keeping my voice low despite the nearly empty restaurant. What I heard last night, what I saw, keeping my voice low despite the empty restaurant.
Let's bring that forward.
What I heard last night, what I saw. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything, Jean interrupted. Saw. You didn't see any. What I saw. You didn't see anything. Anything, Jean interrupted, her eyes hard. That's the first thing you need to understand. Her eyes hard. If you're going to survive this, you need to accept that. Her eyes hard. That's the first thing you need to understand. Anything, Jean interrupted. That's the first thing you need to understand. If you're going to survive. If you're going to survive this job, you need to accept that some things can, or rather, should not be explained. A waitress or be explained. Explained. Or rather, should not be explained. A waitress approached. Be explained. A waitress. To survive, need to accept, or rather, a waitress approached, but Jean waved her away with a practiced gesture. The woman retreated without a word. As if she recognized something in Jean that warned against interruption. I can't just pretend against interruption. I can't just pretend I didn't hear anything. I mean, come on, are we even safe? I can't just pretend I didn't. Are we even safe? I asked, leaning forward. Something is wrong with those containers. Something was buzzing. Maybe. Are we even safe? I asked, leaning forward. Something is wrong with those containers. Something was buzzing, maybe even scratching inside them. There were. Then there were the screams during that so-called maintenance period. Then there were the inside them. Then there were the screams. Jean's hands. Maintenance period. Jean's hands. Those containers. Something was. Do 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 do. Whoops. Something was buzzing, maybe even scratching. Then there were the screams during that so-called maintenance period. Jean's hands shot across the table, gripping my wrist with painful. Her fingernails. Intensity. Her fingernails dug into my skin as she. Lower your. She pulled me closer. Closer. Lower your voice, she hissed. Her eyes. She hissed. Let's bring that one up a bit to quiet. She hissed. Voice. She hissed. Can I do it again? She hissed. Yep. She hissed. Her eyes. She pulled me closer. Lower. Her fingernails. Painful intensity. Her fingernails dug into my. Gripping my maintenance Jean's hands. Voice. She hissed. Her eyes. Hissed. Her eye. Her eyes, I noticed for the first time, weren't just tired. They held a kind of tired. They held a kind of haunted knowledge that made me falter. Yes, there were sounds. Yes, there were sounds. Yes, there were things in those containers that probably don't fit into your. Yes, there were sounds. Yes, there were sounds. Yes, there were things in those containers that probably don't fit into your neat little understanding of the world. But knowing more won't. Yes. World. But knowing more won't help you. It will only make things worse. And no. Strictly speaking. No. It's worse. And no. Strictly speaking, we are not what you would probably call safe. But the only way to guarantee you are not safe is to keep openly asking questions. She released questions. She released my wrist. leaving small crescent marks where her nails had been. I rubbed the spot, watching. She released the spot, watching as she took another sip of her coffee, her hands trembling slightly. I can't keep working there, I said finally, her hands trembling slightly. I can't keep working there. Can't keep working there, I said finally. Whatever's happening, I said finally.
Now, this is one of those situations where is it worth cutting out a bit of the text just to make it kind of like flow a bit better? Because the text that goes like this,
I said finally.
you don't necessarily need it because you already say it, obviously, like by character voices. There's a plane going overhead. So, I mean, I might just be inclined to...
I can't keep working. Her hands trembling slightly.
I might just cut it.
I can't keep working.
I just do this.
There. Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point...
Yeah.
Working there. Whatever's happening, working there. Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point, the whole thing...
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Might just make it a bit better.
At this point, the whole thing seems like it is a front for something massively illegal. Whatever's happening, it's messed up.
Yeah, actually.
At this point, the whole thing seems like it's a front for something massive.
Yes. Bring that forward, baby.
Whatever's happening, it's...
Whoops.
Keep working there. Whatever's happening... Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point, the whole thing seems like it's a front for something massively illegal.
Yeah. Sick. Whoops.
Illegal. I don't know how much you aren't telling me. But maybe we could go to the... I don't know how much you aren't telling me. But maybe we could go to the police. I don't know how much you aren't telling me.
Sick.
I don't know how much you aren't telling me. But maybe we could go to the police. With everything we suspect, someone would have to investigate. Maybe we could go to the police. With everything we suspect, someone would have to investigate. Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point, the whole thing seems like it's a... Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point, the whole thing seems like it's a front for something massively illegal. Whatever's happening, it's messed up. Whatever's happening, it's messed up.
Maybe I'll just do that.
Whatever's happening, it's messed up. At this point, the whole... Can't keep happening. At this point, the whole thing seems like it's a front for something massively illegal. Illegal. I don't know how much you aren't telling me.
Nice.
Aren't telling me. Maybe we could... Aren't telling me. Maybe we could go to the police.
Yeah.
With everything we suspect... With everything we suspect, someone would have to investigate. A harsh, bitter laugh escaped Jean's lips, drawing glances from the few other early morning patrons. She leaned back in the booth. Suddenly, a harsh, have to investigate. Have to investigate.
Where's my coffee?
Investigate. A harsh, bitter laugh escaped Jean's lips, drawing glances from the few... lips, drawing glances from the few other early morning patrons. She leans back and
The question is, did I get this laugh right? It's been a while, I haven't checked.
patrons. She leans back in the booth, suddenly looking almost defeated.
Did I laugh?
You have no idea.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Defeated. Defeated. You have no idea what you're dealing with, she said. You have no idea what you're dealing with. You have no idea what you're dealing with. No idea what you're dealing with, she said. Her voice dropped. She said, her voice dropping to a whisper, suddenly looking almost defeated.
I'll have to bring this up.
You have no idea what. You have no idea what you're dealing with. You have no defeated. You have no idea what you're dealing with, she said. Her voice dropped. She said, suddenly looking almost.
Did I mark this?
Maybe we could. Please. Someone would. A heart.
I'm just popping markers down to tell me where the voices are so I can add effects to them later.
She said, her voice dropping to a whisper. She said, her voice dropping to. She said. With. She said, her voice dropping to a whisper. The police. They already know. The police. They already know.
So quiet. Shit.
To a whisper. The police. They already know. Or at least certain people in the department do. Or at least certain people in the department do. Why do you think we operate so openly? Why do we have business licenses? This isn't some fly. Business licenses and tax ID numbers. This isn't some fly-by-night operation. Voice dropping to the police. Or at least certain people in the. Do you think we operate? Why do we have business licenses and tax ID numbers? This isn't some fly-by-night operation. PT has connections. What kind of connections could. What kind of connections could possibly allow them to. Powerful ones.
Might be a bit too close.
To powerful ones. What kind of connections could possibly allow them to powerful ones? Jean cut me off. Jean cut me off.
I have to amplify this one as well. Not by much, but.
Ones. Jean cut me off. Look, I've seen people like you before. Look. Cut me off. Look. 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 I've seen people like you before. Decent, moral. Look. I've seen people like you before. Decent, moral people who think they can change things. Who think they can expose what's happening and make it stop. She leaned forward. Stop. She leaned forward again, her eyes locking with mine. Remember Jacob? The guy who had your job before you? Remember Jacob? Mine. Mine. Remember, remember Jacob, the guy who had your job before you? I shook my head. For you? Exactly. Head. Exactly. No one remembers Jacob. Exactly. No one remembers Jacob. He decided to be a hero too. Took photos. Be a hero too. Took photos on his phone of one of the containers. Tried to open one when no one.
It's just not working. There we go.
Tried to open the containers. Tried to open one when no one was looking. Tried to open one. Tried to open one when no one was looking. Tried to open one. Her voice caught slightly. Tried to open one when no one was looking. Her voice was looking. Her voice caught slightly. 2 days later, caught slightly. Looking. Her voice caught slightly. 2 days later, his apartment was empty. All his things was empty. All his things were gone. Like he never existed. His mother filed a missing persons report. Like he never existed. His mother filed a missing persons report. Nothing came of it. A cold weight settled in my stomach. You're saying he... Nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. Persons report. Nothing came of it. A cold weight settled in my stomach. You're saying they killed him? You're saying they killed stomach. My stomach. You're saying they killed him? Jean's eyes darted around the restaurant before returning to mine. Killed him? Jean's eyes darted around the restaurant before returning to mine. I'm saying he disappeared. Just disappeared. Just like Marissa before him, and David before her. And David before her. People who asked the restaurant before returning to mine. Killed him? I'm saying he... I'm saying he disappeared. Just like Marissa before him, and David before her. People who ask David before her. People who ask too many questions don't last long at PT. I swallowed hard and considered her words. It was too much at that point, and I just resolved to get out. It was too much at that point. I told Jean, just resolved to get out. I told Jean my plan. Okay then, I will just quit. I don't like it, but if something dangerous or illegal is going on, that could just... I told Jean to get out. I told Jean my plan. Okay then. I will just quit. I don't like. Just quit. I don't like it, but if some. I don't like it, but if something dangerous or illegal is going on that could just disappear me, then I will just leave. I can even put in a 2 weeks notice so they don't think it is because I suspect something. Jean laughed.
Ha ha ha.
Just leave. I can even put in a 2 weeks notice so they don't think it is because I suspect something.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Jean laughed.
Did I get this laugh right?
A harsh and hollow sound. She looked at me like,
I didn't laugh, did I?
You think that they believe anyone?
Should have laughed. Should have laughed.
Harsh and hollow. Jean laughed. A harsh and hollow sound. She looked at me like I was an unruly child. Child. You think that they believe anyone could be so dense as to not suspect something? Even after one night. So then what can I do? Even after one night. Suspect something? Even after one night. So then what can I do? Why are you telling me this? Why? What can I do? Why are you telling me this? Her eyes narrowed and she telling me this. Believe anyone could be so one night. Can I do? Why are you telling me this? Her eyes narrowed and she responded. Because you need to know that you can't just quit now.
Oops.
Responded. She responded. Because you. Her eyes narrowed and she responded. Because you need to know that you can't just quit now. You are in this whether you like it or not. You want to not disappear whether you like it or not. If you want to not disappear too, then just keep your head down, keep quiet, and do not rock the boat. The less you know, the less danger you're in. I have to go. Danger you're in. I have to go. You should get some sleep. Go. You should get some sleep and remember what I told you. I'm off tomorrow. Told you. Try and keep safe. I'm off tomorrow. Try and keep safe while I'm gone and take care. Try and keep safe while I'm gone and take care. I'm gone and I'm off tomorrow. Off tomorrow. Try and keep safe while I'm gone and take care. She threw some. Take care. Take care. She threw some money on the table and walked out, and I was left. It sounded like speechless. Word. And I was left stunned and speechless. It sounded like I was stuck and I still had no idea what I had gotten myself into. And speechless. It sounded like I was stuck. It sounded like I was stuck and I still had no idea what I had got. Narrowed, as you need to know. Can't just in this way not disappear. No, the less I have to go. I'm sleeping. Off tomorrow. I'm gone. Take care. No idea what I had gotten my anxiety into. My anxiety was palpable, and I hardly got any sleep when I returned home. If what returned home. If what Jean said was true, then the place had just gotten then the place I had just gotten then the place said was true, In the place I had just gotten a job at was hiding a dark secret, and I could not uncover it or leave and run away. I was forced to leave and run away. I was forced and run away. I was forced, for the time being, to continue working for the bizarre company. Continue shifting those mysterious boxes. Bizarre company. Continue shifting those mysterious boxes without ever knowing. Continue shifting those Continue when it was time to go they might contain. When it was time to go back, I hesitated. When it was time to go back, I hesitated and almost considered, but I didn't want to. I hesitated. Go back. I hesitated and almost considered calling out and not going. But I didn't want to attract any unwanted attention just then. So I summoned my courage and went back to PT shipping for my attention just then. So I summoned my courage, but I didn't want to attract not going. Not going. But I didn't want to attract any unwanted attention just then. So I summoned my courage and went back to PT shipping for my second day of work. I arrived a few minutes early, but no one else was there to greet me this time. I shuffled in and grabbed a new manifest from my workstation. I saw the first shipment was. I shuffled in.
Next, yeah, true. True. I find myself going back and forth quite a lot, mainly because I'm so obsessed with the flow of the work, and I want it to sound quick. I want it to sound like there's space between some of the text. But that means I'm going back and forth and listening to the previous words. So I'm thinking, if I listen to this.
I arrived a few minutes early, but no one else was there to greet me this time. I shuffled in and grabbed a new manifest from my work.
So it's nice. It's like,
I arrived a few minutes early, but no one else was there to greet me this time.
That's one thought.
I shuffled in and grabbed a new.
And that's a second thought, but I don't want it to be too far apart.
Greet me this time. I shuffled in and grabbed a new manifest from my workstation and the tablet. I saw the first shipment was scheduled to arrive in the next 10 minutes.
And that's in the same thought, same beat. So I kind of want to
keep. But no one else was there to greet me this time. I shuffled in and grabbed a new manifest from my workstation and the tablet. I saw the first shipment was scheduled to arrive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is how I normally sound, but when I do my narrations, I don't know why when I first started doing the channel, I was practicing my accents specifically. That's why I started it in the first place, because I do acting, and accents were sort of my they were kind of my Achilles heel. So I needed an outlet where I could force myself to kind of do work and do voiceover, stylistically, hearing American or British or, I don't know, forms of British like Cockney, and using this as an outlet to practice. And then I just kept doing the US because it was fun, and I feel like it offers a really nice quality to the work, or at least as an Australian, changes the quality so much. So yeah, this is how I normally sound. This is how I normally talk. So when I start doing narrations, then I drop into this sort of American style. I don't know. It's a lot darker, a lot more. I don't know. It's got a nice color to it. And I did have narrations where I was doing British kind of sounding stuff, and a lot of it depended on the type of work I was doing. So if I was to do something like a H.P. Lovecraft type of story, then I would sort of dive into this more regal, more high end narration style. But with something like this, like I'll drop into the American and just sort of do the work. Oh, thanks, Nexia. You're so sweet. Hey, yeah, thanks for stopping by. Anyway, I feel like there was moments where I was kind of like talking to myself here, and I don't know. I the stream is kind of nice because I can use it as a sort of time capsule and shows the work that gets put into the stories. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Right now, I'm working on this. Really, this is probably my longest project I've been working on. So yeah, yeah. I do traditional acting, so I do both theater and I do screen as well. There's a couple of short films that are floating around somewhere, and some that I haven't seen. But yeah, I studied acting at a university in Wollongong, New South Wales. So yeah, I did my work there, and I did that for 3 years. And then once I left that, I was doing a couple of projects around, and now I've sort of kind of tapped into the voice acting stuff. So yeah, it's at the moment I haven't been doing much acting. I've kind of just been doing usual bar work. So I do bartending on the side, and then when I have free time, I do this work as well. But yeah. So I like to use this as an outlet to kind of flex those acting muscles and kind of get into characters. Depending on how they sound and how they work. Characterization is a lot of fun, especially with these stories. So I mean, even in your own work, I'm sure, like, I've listened to the work that you do, Nexia, and it's actually really nice to be able to hear someone flesh out kind of the storytelling aspect of it. I don't know. I'm really fond of your work, which is nice. Um, but yeah, characters. I think that's where my stuff kind of shines a little bit. I try to individualize everyone a little bit. Also, is this sound good? I'm testing out the stream, but I wasn't sure if the microphone held up against the like desktop audio, so I wasn't sure if it blended alright. Screen acting's great though. I think you should give it a try anyway. Like before I studied doing acting and stuff, I I sounded completely different in terms of how I spoke and how I interacted and talked to people. Because the Australian accent, in a sense, like from where I grew up, like a lot of it was really kind of nasal, a little bit not as clear. So when you're talking to people, like you're a little bit lazier, like when you're talking and you start, kind of it's all gobbledygook and you can't really understand what's going on. Like, but then like doing theater work, I kind of changed. Like the way I talk has changed heaps. Yeah, I just don't know. Um, but I think like if you have an interest in doing screen acting, I mean, if you have an opportunity to do so, you should. Um, I mean, it really just comes down to whether they see your audition and like it or not. Then once you get in, then you're in. Like, might as well go for it. And camera shyness, I feel like, gets better if you do it more often because, practice makes perfect. So I think you should, try. You won't know unless you do it. That's what I do anyway. Anyway.
Arrive in the next 10 minutes.
Thanks again.
From my workstation and the tablet. I saw the first shipment was scheduled to arrive in the next 10 minutes. Then I looked at the list. I arrived a few minutes early, but no one else was there to greet me this time. But I didn't want to attract any unwanted attention just then. So I summoned my courage and went back to PT shipping for my second day of work. I arrived a few minutes early, but no one else was there to greet me this time. I shuffled in and grabbed a new manifest from my workstation and the tablet. I saw the first shipment was scheduled to arrive in the next 10 minutes. Then I looked at the list.
You can definitely immerse yourself in the scene, 100%. Yeah, I think like in terms of bouncing off someone, it definitely helps if there's someone in the room to do it. Like the amount of times I've done an audition where I'm by myself, because no one's available to help me out. It feels weird because there's no energy in the room to play with. So I find myself kind of having to generate energy from somewhere. I mean, it's actually kind of similar to the audio aspect and voice narration. Like, where does the energy come from? And the energy, I feel like, derives directly from the story itself, and how the story develops and how the characters interact with one another. Like in this PT shipping, this one I'm working on right now, like there's so many different characters. They all have different personalities and different ways of talking to each other. But then they change when they talk to like another third party, someone who has a little bit more hierarchy, who's higher up. So I feel like screen acting is awesome because you get to bounce off real people in the real world. But I don't know, voice narration is really fun because you just consistently bounce off yourself. Yeah, I reckon keep up the voice stuff. Your channel's sick. And if you ever need help with like thumbnails or anything like that, because I do a lot of, I've been using Photoshop for years now. If you need any help with like thumbnails or want inspiration, like with the normal for normal people, just let me know, because I find collaborating is a lot of fun. I think collaboration is one of the best parts about doing creative work like this, and that's why we're all in the hanging out in the chats.
Then I looked at the list. Then I looked minutes. Then I looked at the list continue on into shipment was scheduled to arrive in the next 10 minutes. Then I looked at the list continue on into another page and realized that there were twice the amount of trucks that day.
I don't know, sometimes I need help. It's nice. I'll still ask for it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm usually laid up doing the work that day, so I don't really send it out until, I don't know, no one's online to help me out.
Twice the amount of trucks that day. Then I looked at the list.
Okay, what the fuck?
Then I looked at the list. Then realized continue on.
Nexia, do you find when you're doing, I don't know what program you use, but do you put markers when you mess up a line, or do you have like an audio marker you use? Because I've tried doing markers for this sort of thing and knowing where I mess up, and I have to go back and, do it again. But at the moment, I'm just kind of manually going through the whole audio and having to listen to the new lines I'm saying, and then having to delete the ones that I've messed up. Do you have like a system for that sort of thing, or are you pretty much doing what I'm doing, where I just kind of listen to where I've messed up a line and then delete it? Because I've seen people where they mark it. So like if I say a line here and I'm like, blah, 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 mess up, they'll put a marker there as it continues on. And then they'll mark it next time they mess up. How do you go about that? Because I'm pretty silly when it comes to it.
Continue on into another page and realize.
I also used to use Audacity. It's actually such a good system, for free especially. But I found with Audition, it's just allowed me to progress the quality of the work so much, which is really nice. I can tell, like, looking at my older work and coming back to this, it's kind of nuts how much it's changed. Yeah, just marking when you've messed up. I don't know. I could have simplified it a lot more. Yeah, like during the recording, making a marker for, just to signify, oh, this is a line that you're going to have to delete later.
And realized page. And to another page. And page. Another page. And realized. Then I looked at the list, continue on into another page, and realized that there were twice the amount of trucks, and
Audacity's free. This is a subscription-based program, but I'm going to send a message over Discord. Just bear with me. Yeah, it's subscription based, unfortunately. And it's Adobe sucks, just the way they do their subscription models.
and realized that there were twice the amount of trucks that day than my first, and I had no apparent help. At least with what I would be doing. At least with what I would be doing. I thought briefly about the other people. No apparent help. At least with what I would be doing. At least with what. At least with what. Be doing. I thought briefly about the other people I saw leave the building yesterday at 5 a.m. Why?
Yeah, I hate re-recording lines, especially if I don't have the similar, like, same audio, because then I have to go back and edit everything. Because I go through a whole, like, audio management system every time I record something. So I've already do all the post-production stuff, and then I have to go back and re-record an audio. It's such a pain trying to get it the same way again, which is why I should probably stop producing the whole thing before I edit through it. But I don't know, that's just me. I like to have it kind of clean so I can edit through. Or I just trust that I got it right at some point. Yeah, the environment. It's all about the environment, especially when you're trying to cut out background noise.
At least with what I would be doing. I thought briefly about the other people I saw leave the building yesterday at 5 a.m. Why did they have a section?
Yeah, you've answered my question. It's fantastic. Works for me.
At 5 a.m. Why did they have us sectioned off and not working together? It was another question I would have to. I was going to be very busy together. Why did they have us sectioned off and not working together? It was another question I would have to set aside.
Yeah, I've just managed to set up my space where I do all my editing. So I've got some like noise cancelling stuff, which is basically just these kind of PVC pipes, and I've attached large tarps to them. There's kind of like blanket things. And I've just kind of made this little box in my room to kind of cut out unnecessary echoing. Because before I'd clap and you'd hear this like twang sitting in the corner of the room, and I thankfully got rid of it. But, I'm right next to a window, so if it's raining, I'm in trouble.
That aside. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe I would have to set aside. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction. The first truck backed up. nice. The first truck backed up to the loading dock with...
Yeah, it's like a makeshift quote-unquote booth, except I'm still in like a large space, which is my room, but one corner of it is just a little bit more stable, I suppose. Just a bit more stable. So it gives helps with the noise suppression, kind of getting rid of all the background noise. Also, I don't know how you go about editing audio, but one thing that really saved my life was, I think it's probably different in Audacity. I think it's called something different, but I'm sure you do it anyway. But dynamics processing, where it kind of cuts out frequencies up to a certain point. So if I was to select a piece of audio and go into dynamics processing, in this program I can run it on the side here and scan the selection, and it gives me all these different values. But the one I'm looking for is the average RMS amplitude. So this kind of tells me where the audio drops off. So for this, the audio starts at -47 and grows. So anything below that is where the audio kind of stops. So I would go into dynamics processing and use it. Where is it? It's here. And I use this little scale that helps me remove all the lower dBs. So that way it's kind of like removing unnecessary background that doesn't encapsulate the voice. So anything between it, there's like breathing, kind of like gets rid of it. I remember using Audacity. What was it called in that? What was it called? I think it's like Noise Gate. I think it's Noise Gate or clipping or something like that. I don't remember. But that stuff's awesome. Every time I put that on, I feel like the audio just kind of gets so much better. Yeah, high low pass filters. Like, I mean, I could really go into this whole editing thing because there's so much I've had to study and learn about this, because I've only picked this up in the last year or so. Like Adobe Audition, I came to this and I had no idea what I was doing the entire time. But Audacity kind of gave me that sort of entryway into it. But I've done, a lot of searching on YouTube and stuff like that and trying to teach myself how to use the program efficiently. But there's so many different people who would use compressor or the EQ, and they always do it in like different like, I don't know, steps. Like someone will compress first, or someone will EQ first, or blah 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 blah. But I finally found the one that works for me. So I don't know how much you do for your voice stuff, but the EQ definitely helps if you want to remove sort of those like weird twangy frequencies in the voice, like the kind of bell sounding frequencies. So like if I was to go into here, I've already edited this, so it probably isn't that bad. But if I go into like my parametric, and I go default, I will look specifically for any of the frequencies that have a sort of twang.
I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice.
So essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking for the frequencies, the high end and the low end frequencies that make the sounds a little bit muddier, and trying to eliminate that. So if I go through this,
Going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice.
so I don't know if you can hear
I
this.
was going to be very busy and
Like, I got pretty good headphones, so I can hear it really well, but it kind of has this weird, muddy, bassy sound.
thought that maybe the distraction might be nice.
Kind of, and I've already done this, so it's not as bad, but then you would just like kind of get rid of it, and you'd remove those,
I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice.
kind of remove that muddy sound, but I've already done it, so now it kind of sounds a bit tinnier. And then I would do the same thing for like the high frequencies that kind of get rid of the sibilance and stuff like that. So my sibilance, you're looking for sort of these higher end frequencies that really punctuate the S's.
I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice.
Which also
I was going
helps.
to be very busy. It was another question I would have to set aside. Did they have us sectioned off and not working together? Did they have us? It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside. It was another question I would have to set aside.
Anyway,
It was another question.
what you'd look for is those really high sibilant S's and try to eliminate those. But I've already done it, so
Question I would have to set aside.
the audio sounds a little bit clearer. But I think it also depends on the quality of your voice. I'm sure there's like more you could do, but like it's also not necessary. If it sounds good, it sounds good. I don't think there's a massive issue with it. I just really I don't know. I kind of obsess about I don't know, like there's a particular sound I'm after, and if it sounds like that, then I'm happy. But everyone has a different style, and everyone has a different voice. Like, I have a lot of bass in my voice, so when it comes to audio, trying to get rid of that bass makes it sound less muddy. But with higher voices, you might find the higher frequencies to be a little bit harsher. So you want to get rid of those harsh S sounds. But yeah, I mean, hey, if your audio sounds good, which it does, then I wouldn't worry about it. I would just keep making work.
Have to set aside. I was going to be very busy and thought that maybe the distraction might be nice. The first truck backed up to the loading dock with a low rumble that vibrated through. I approached, remembering Jean's the keypad by the door. I punched in the code I'd met. Floor. I approached cautiously.
All right, next. So here's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna pull up something. I'm gonna pull up specifically your work. Let's have a look. I don't know how to properly stream. I've never really done. I tell you what though, one thing Nexia, your sub count is going nuts. Because last I checked, you were at 480, and now you're at 506, which is fucking awesome. So whatever you're doing it right. Alright, let's have a look at your recent video. The headphones I have, I don't know what you use, but I bought these specifically for this kind of work so I can hear the really, like the sounds you wouldn't hear just on like, what you wouldn't hear on like your phone, like if you're just out playing it through your speaker. So I pick up on some audio things. So sometimes I'll listen to some audios and I'll like pick up on like little things people have missed. Little kind of like sound things that people have missed. So far I haven't actually heard in yours. So let me see if I can bring your video up. I mean, I wouldn't have to. I could probably just listen to it through here. Let's do this. Does that work?
Hey everybody, Nexia here. Just as a warning, this story references...
I'm sorry if this feels awkward. You let me know if you don't want me to do this, because I don't mind not doing this. I just thought, since you've asked, we might as well get into the nitty gritty. So let me know. Let me know if you... Do I have your consent to listen to your work? Hey, you know what? About secondhand embarrassment, it's... I mean, I would say I still have it, but it used to be really bad for me. But it got to a point where I just kind of had to be like, secondhand embarrassment isn't really about me, it's about the other person and how I can relate to it. So I just kind of have to separate myself from the secondhand embarrassment. But thanks for your consent. We're going to have a listen.
There's some adult content, so viewer discretion is advised. Now that you've been warned, and if you're going to stay, I hope you enjoy.
Also, I remember I did this for my own YouTube, and I remember doing this, and it was one of the first creepypastas I'd ever heard. And back when it first came out, I thought it was one of the most haunting, scariest stories I'd ever heard, and I was shaking in my boots. But then, like, coming back to it now, I've it makes me, I don't know, it makes me piss. It's so funny. Like, it's such a goofy creepypasta, really. But let's have a listen.
Everybody knows that if you surf the web long enough, you'll see some pretty sick shit. This is especially true if you intentionally dive into the dark underbelly of the internet. I've seen quite a few things I don't care to admit to, but one thing that I'll always remember is a site called normalpornfornormalpeople.com. The first strange thing about the site was that I didn't find it by actually looking for it. It was emailed to me by someone I didn't know. The email was as follows. Hi there, found the site. It's very nice. Thought you might like. Normal porn for normalpeople.com. Pass it on for the good of mankind.
That's crazy. I'll be honest with you. I was going to watch this, and I think I got up to about here, and then I got caught up doing something else, so I didn't get to this part. But I was not expecting that.
The email was as follows. Hi there, found the site. It's very nice. Thought you might like. Normal porn.
Honestly, I mad respect it. This is sick. Just from a video sense, because I wouldn't, truth be told, I don't think I would have done the same amount of work as doing all of this. This is pretty cool. Was this like a program you used this on with this inbox thing? Yeah, I think the goofiness works with it, especially like stylistically. I don't know, stylistically, like it can work depending on how you go about it. Like if you're going for something that's kind of goofy, then this does work. Or like the whole idea of a site called normalpornfornormalpeople.com is goofy. So I like this play. So I'm curious if we listen on, does it get progressively less goofy and kind of sits more in like a, we think it's funny at the start and then delves into something a little bit more dark, a little bit more sinister? Or does this goofiness kind of go along? That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Oh, sick. In viral pack. Am I reading that right? Viral alpaca? Yeah, so true. Let's listen.
Or normalpeople.com. Pass it on for the good of mankind.
Pretty standard issue chain letter, although the URL and the last remark really piqued my curiosity.
And I'll tell you what, this video gives me early creepypasta vibes. This music, this storytelling aspect, the goofiness, like it's very classic creepypasta, which I mean was the reason that got me into making it in the first place. So yeah, slay.
Having a very boring day when I got this, so I made sure my antivirus was working and then clicked on it. It was a very average, very generic looking site. It gave the impression that the creators just barely gave a shit about making it look professional. The author seemed to have a very tenuous grasp on English, and on the front page was a long, boring, and incoherent rant that I don't remember or have saved. The site had a strange tagline, which even today people haven't figured out the meaning of, which was, "Normal porn for normal people, a website dedicated to the eradication of abnormal sexuality."
Sick.
And from the sound of that, I wasn't sure whether I was here to watch porn or if I'd stumbled onto some kind of eugenics program. But I was here now, and I was very, very curious to see what normal people got their rocks off to. So I scrolled down through the rant and nothing. The page didn't seem to link to anywhere else, and I was about to leave when I noticed that every word of the rant was its own hyperlink. I clicked one of them and was sent to a white page with a very long list of links in the form of normal porn for normalpeople.com/random letters. So I stopped for a minute and asked myself if I really wanted to waste God knows how much time clicking random links that would likely give me a virus that would rape my computer. I figured I'd try it.
I think I must have not used the word rape in my storytelling. I think I got rid of it. I don't know why. Maybe I just have an adversity to the word. I think I just said fuck my computer. So I forgot about that part.
Maybe 5 minutes, just to see if anything came up. I clicked one of the links and was sent to another page. This page apparently had totally different URLs than the last one. I was just about to say, fuck this, when I clicked on the third.
Yeah, I mean, I think I removed it just because I don't think it necessarily... I think it serves to the time period, but I don't know if it's necessarily serves the story the same way. So I think I just removed it because I didn't particularly like it. But, you know, that's just me fucking with someone else's writing, so whatever.
Third link, and a video download came up. It was called peanut.avi, a 30-minute video.
Also, where does this stock video stuff come from? Where are you getting this from? Because there's pretty good quality. Do you have like a subscription to a stock footage website or something, or are you just like googling free stock footage? Because I've never thought to use stock footage, but that's wrong. I have thought about using it once, but I wasn't sure where to get it. Pexels. What is Pexels? Is Pexels free stuff? Ooh, very fun. So this bread video didn't cost you anything. That's pretty good. That's good
man,
quality.
a woman, and a dog in a kitchen.
Also, this music choice is insane, and I'm living for it.
The woman made a peanut butter sandwich, and the man set it down for the dog to eat. This was all that happened for 30 minutes. It was obvious that the cameraman had to stop filming and wait until the dog was ready to eat again.
Crazy. I should
And
have
the
looked here
dog
first.
seemed rather sick by the end of it. I know what you're thinking. What the hell does that have to do with porn? I have no idea. I've seen a little over 24 videos from this site, and the majority had no sexual activity at all. After watching peanut.avi, I went on a certain image board I frequent to play online show and tell, like I always do with weird shit like this. But someone had already made a thread about it, a guy who'd received the same chain letter I did. The image board thread had lots of people with nothing better to do than dig through the site, and that's how I saw other videos. Most of those 24 videos were very uneventful, and consisted of people talking to the cameraman in a room with nothing in it but a desk and a few chairs. I mean, literally nothing on the walls or in terms of furniture. The whole room had a very cold, sterile feel to it. The conversations were idle
Where's
banter about
peeking? Did I miss
previous
that?
jobs. Cameraman in a room with nothing in it but a desk and a few chairs. I mean, literally nothing on the walls or in terms of furniture. The whole room had a very cold, sterile feel to it. The conversations were idle banter about previous jobs or embarrassing childhood moments. I kept expecting some kind of discussion about what the people were filming or what the site was about, but of course, nothing.
Good flow to this
You
story
would
so
never
far.
know these videos had anything to do with porn if you saw it out of context. I will say one thing, though.
Ah, yes, that
The
part.
people who
I didn't
appeared
even
in
notice,
these
so I don't think
videos
it really
were
matters.
quite attractive. However, the other videos that actually did feature content I suppose could
Well,
be
sometimes audio is hard to get right, especially if you peak it a little bit. Like depending on what your gain is on whatever you're using. Like I have a phantom power, so I have gain goes from analog into digital. So getting it right is always hard. I feel like if it's too high, I'm peaking a lot. But if it's then every time I get really low, I kind of lose some of the color in the voice. But yeah, audio is one of those things where when you mess up, you just hate it. You just hate it. But when you get it right, legend. Feel like an absolute legend.
called sexual is where things got weird. I'll give brief descriptions of the stranger videos. Text.
Good choice for the music drop.
I will say one thing, though. The people who appeared in these videos were quite attractive. However, the other videos that actually did feature content I suppose could be called sexual is where things got weird.
One thing I love about doing this kind of work is, I don't know if you get the same sense, but feeling the audio, like that's how I describe it, is I don't just listen to it, but I can feel it. So moments like that where you're trying to find out, okay, how long does the music go for? If it stops here, how's it going to affect it? If it stops here, how's it going to change it? So like finding those moments where the music kind of adds this lightness to it, and as soon as you remove it, you can feel the gravity of the whole audio drop. Like it's,
Videos that actually did feature content I suppose could be called sexual is where things got weird.
once that weird hits, it's like, all right, what's going to happen? The music's gone. We feel kind of interested. So now what I'm thinking is, okay, this is the turning point. This is where things definitely get weird. So how are we going to make it weird?
I'll give brief descriptions of the stranger videos. If you're really eaten up with curiosity, you can try to hunt them down on a torrent site. LickedClean.avi.
Nice, good choice. This is sick.
A 10-minute video filmed by a hidden camera in which we see a repairman working on a washing machine for the first 2 minutes. When it's fixed, the repairman talks to the owner briefly and then leaves. The owner checks to make sure the repairman is gone, then begins to lick all over the top of the washing machine. This goes on for 7 minutes.
Fuck, my microphone's fucking up. Whoops.
Jimbo.avi.
Oh, here it is again. We're back.
A 5-minute video of an obese mime performing his act. It was actually pretty funny, particularly...
Bro, this this stock footage is actually scary as. It's making me worried. I don't like this, but awesome, good choice. Slay.
one part where he pretends to pull up a chair, then pretends that it breaks because of his weight. In the last 30 seconds of the video, the camera cuts to static briefly and cuts back to the man sobbing quietly, still wearing a mime outfit and makeup. Some kind of obscure fetish? Diana.avi. 4-minute video in which the cameraman talks to a woman in a room different from the interview room. This room looks like one you'd find in a normal person's house.
Laugh where? Where? I want to hear
A
that.
mime outfit.
Is it in this section?
Makeup. Some kind of obscure fetish? Diana.avi. 4-minute video in which the cameraman talks to a woman in a room different from the interview room. This room looks like one you'd find in a normal person's house. Exactly where they are is never specified, as Diana only talks about her violin playing. She obviously plays her violin, but keeps getting distracted by something. I didn't notice this until someone on the image board thread pointed it out, but if you look at the mirror in the background, you can see a fat man in a chicken mask masturbating. Jessica.
Should have kept it in. Should have kept it in. That's my only tip. You should have kept it in because I would have laughed. So next time, if you get a take like that, leave it in or send it in Discord.
AVI. Another 4-minute.
I always find myself, like when I read a line and I laugh to myself, I always question whether I should just keep it for some time, but there's no real reason to keep it in there at all. But I'll say some line and I'll giggle to myself like a little boy, and then I'll have to move on.
Minute cameraman video. This time he's outside a house, talking to another young woman. They talk about canoe rides. The camera zooms out to reveal the city streets behind them occasionally. The strange thing is that no one so far has been able to identify where the street is. Guesses have ranged everywhere from Europe to
One thing about this story, and this is, I think when I recorded this, I also kind of laughed, was just this, no one knew where the street was. Like, like the whole drama of the street is it's so goofy to me. It just always found it funny. I was like, oh my god, you're kidding. No one knows where the street is? Oh my god. Like, I don't know. It's that one moment where I'm like, okay, well, now we're reaching.
Australia to the Philippines, but there's yet to be a match for the street shown in the
It is the scariest part. When I don't know, it's like, you know, when you're walking out in town, you forget where you are and you can't find your way home. It's like, where's the street? Where am I? That's why we have Google Maps.
video. tonguetied.avi. 10-minute video. The first 5 minutes consist of an elderly woman making out with a mannequin. The video cuts out like it did in Jimbo.avi halfway through.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm describing Alzheimer's and dementia. That's me every time I walk out in the town. I forget where I am. And then, someone comes up to me and looks at the tag I have on my wrist, and they take me home, which is nice.
And the scene
Wait a second. I thought this was an editing stream. Where am I?
is then a group of mannequins huddled together in a circle around the camera. The lights have been dimmed, and the
Thanks.
elderly woman is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, being 60's hard. So, yeah, thanks for stopping by. You should like all my videos.
From this point on, there is no sound.
You don't have to. You can't tell, but I'm winking. You don't have to. You don't have to do it. I'm winking right now.
Stumps.avi. 5-minute long video where a man with
Yeah, I take care of my voice.
no legs is attempting to breakdance on a DDR mat in what looks like the kitchen from Peanut.avi, but much dirtier. There's a radio playing music unseen in the background, but it stops at the 4-minute mark when the man collapses on the mat in exhaustion. He breathes heavily and pleads with someone off-screen to let him rest. This off-screen person becomes terrifyingly enraged and yells
Your accent, where are you from?
at him to keep dancing, which he does. You can hear this off-screen person begin to scream as the video ends abruptly. Privacy.avi.
We're in the USA.
The woman from Diana.avi is masturbating
West Coast.
on a mattress
Okay, yeah. It was giving West Coast vibes. Mad.
in the
California? Epic.
interview room,
You based in LA?
while the man from Stumps.avi walks around on his hands.
Or Florida? Wait, is Florida West Coast? I don't exactly know. Transatlantic. That's very interesting.
Wearing some kind of goblin mask.
Transatlantic, I feel like where it stems from, at least in people who have a US accent already, is they find a kind of it's kind of like the way British people talk and the way they speak has this sort of rhythmic quality to it, so they go up and down and up and down. Whereas general American, like people who talk in some states, like they tend to go into it like a bulldozer. You know, it's all the way up here and it kind of goes through. You're always pushing when it comes to the American accent. But the British accent sort of up and down and up and down, you find this rhythm. So the transatlantic sort of accent feels like it's that American sound to it, but you talk in a sort of rhythmic sense, so it's up and down, but it has that American quality to it. So that's where the transatlantic sort of comes from. But yeah, Valley Girl is awesome. It's one of my favorite accents I've ever heard, especially when people talk and they're trying to talk to you, and it's always, you know, kind of lazy. It's kind of Californian, like it's so laid back and fun, and I don't know, like easy. Like there's no problems here. Like we're so stress free. It's crazy. Yeah, transatlantic used to be very popular because it was easy to understand. Like from all places you could hear it and you clearly pick out what is being said. I think that's why it was so prominent. because I think with the quality of film they had and the quality of audio, that you had to speak as clear as possible to get the best sound. Whereas like films today, you can hear people and they're kind of talking like this, and luckily for us on Netflix, we have subtitles so we can actually understand what they're saying. But for them, it's kind of like putting theater to film, because they were always working on sets.
The door in this room was
Also,
always
on a side note, which should be the main note, dude in a goblin mask walking on his hands, pretty scary.
guy walks around on his hands, wearing some kind of goblin mask. The door in this room was always closed in other videos, but it's now open. In this video, the only light is in the room, and the hallway is dark. Near the end of the video, you can see an animal quickly run through the hallway.
Oh my god.
And finally,
Not an animal.
the last video we uncovered. Useless.abi.
That's the one in the thumbnail.
In this 18-minute video, a blonde woman from one of the previous interview videos is tied down to a mattress in the interview room. She attempts to scream, but her mouth is taped over. After 7 minutes,
Good
a
music choice for
man
this
in a
part.
black suit and mask opens
So
the
eerie.
door, but he does not enter. He holds the door open for the animal that was running in the hall in the previous video. It's revealed to be an adult chimpanzee, its hair shaved and its entire body painted red. When the chimp enters the room, the masked man closes the door behind it. The chimpanzee sniffs the air for a moment, he may have been blind, and notices the woman tied to the mattress. It goes into a frenzy and begins to maul her. The assault goes on for a grueling 7 minutes until the woman finally dies. The chimp eats flesh from her corpse for 4 minutes as the video ends.
I think the music is great because it gives that sense of being held hostage. Like, it doesn't stop. It doesn't give you room to breathe. So just that sounds kind of like that. It's so consistent and so gripping. And I think that like audio quality gives it a very unsettling feel to it. So awesome choice. Awesome choice. I'm always very particular with music. I have done videos where I've chosen a piece of music that just doesn't fit, and I've uploaded and been like, fuck, I definitely should have listened to this more. But yeah, that's sick choice.
The thread
Whoa! We're shifting the music. Here we go.
exploded with activity after this video was uncovered, and people discussed it long into the night.
Gives me like
When I
sort of... Oh, fuck. Whoops.
Hey everybody, you can hear
Whoops.
this off-screen
It sort of gives me like detective vibes with that last bit of music. Like, oh, we're in the investigation part.
to the image board the next day. I found that it had been deleted. I tried to start another one, and they banned me. I tried emailing the guy who sent me the chain letter with the site's URL. I sent him 5 messages and never got a response. I've tried to discuss this website on various places and have been banned frequently. The site itself was also deleted about 3 days after useless.avi was uncovered, likely because someone contacted the authorities about it.
Am I wrong, or have you gained more subs in the time that we started this video? Or am I just kind of going nuts?
The only
506.
proof that normal porn for normalpeople.com ever existed was a few screen caps
Yeah, the high notes are inquisitive. I feel like the music choice is great because it kind of gives that aspect of mystery, which is lovely.
people took, and videos from the site that people saved and uploaded on torrents. The most popular of which was useless.avi,
No, I think I'm
which
bugging.
found its way onto a few
I think I'm gaslighting myself into the sub count.
gore sites.
It's alright, I'll look at the stream after.
Wherever you upload them to, all of the
Good choice. The sigh. I didn't even think about that.
few gore sites.
Wow, good characterization just for the narrator. That's a good choice. That's not in the text at all, hey.
Wherever you upload them to, all of the videos from normal porn for normalpeople.com get deleted after a while.
No, thank you for making quality content. That's what we're after. See, this is what I need. I need a candle at the end of my videos. I just need like a general like outro type of thing. But I don't know. I'm still trying to get my video stuff right. Yeah, the characterization is a good choice. No, the sigh makes it work because it gives you the narrator, also Nexia, gives that personality, which I think is important to kind of shine through the way you make your videos. But yeah, hey, that was pretty sick. And by pretty sick, I mean quite sick. Good choices, good storytelling. I feel like there's some people who get picky about breathing and like the noises between the dialogue, which personally for me, I get rid of it because the way I go about my storytelling is my breaths happen way too far away from the text. So I'll go, and then I'll start talking. So I just remove them because it gets jarring. Like if you watch my video, Lacey Portney's Bears, I left the breathing in that just to kind of see how it goes. And the response back from it wasn't the best. So now I just go ahead and get rid of the breathing. But I feel like for you, I don't think it's distracting. I don't think it takes away from it at all. I think they're in the right spots. So I don't know if you ever remove them, but yeah, I don't think you have to. Also, on a side note, do you feel like you hold a lot of tension in your voice? Like when you're talking, do you feel kind of like restricted when you're telling a story, or do you feel like you could potentially be a little bit looser in the way you talk? Snarkiness does work in this one. Good choice. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I can hear people talk and just the quality in their voice. Like, I mean, it depends on the day as well. Like, if I record something early in the morning, my voice is going to be just a little bit tighter and it won't sound as clear, but it kind of gives it a really interesting quality. But if I've already done the warm-ups and I've already been speaking heaps, then you can kind of tell in the voice that it's a little bit clearer, sounds more colorful. But I mean, this might just be your voice. I mean, it sounds like there might be a little bit of tension, but
Same chain letter I did.
I think it's just maybe it's just the accent. But it doesn't take away from it. This is just me being a theater maker and actor. But it feels like I can hear a little bit of tightness, which, if it does feel tight, then I would try to do exercises that kind of open up the throat a bit, which I'm trying to think. Yawning. That's an exercise you can do to relieve a bit of tension in the voice. What you do is you yawn, and when you yawn, you can kind of feel that openness. When you get to the end of the yawn, try to keep that openness. So if I was like, oh, I keep it in that wide position. Other than that, hey, sick work, good stuff. Keep it up. What's in the works? What are you doing next? Are you doing something no sleep? Are you doing something classic? Like, what's on the What's on the list?
I approached, cautiously, remembering Jean's methodical movements from the night before. The keypad by a low rumble that vibrated through the concrete floor. I approached. Concrete floor. I approached. Concrete floor. I approached, cautiously, remembering Jean's methodical movements from the night before. The keypad by the door blinked expectantly. I punched in the code I'd memorized and stepped.
Sick. Working with Oz. That's good. Oz is awesome to work with. He's very nice.
Night before. Remembering Jean's methodical movements from the night before.
I've got a couple of I've done a couple of audios for Omen and Punchy, so I'm keen to see if when they eventually come out to see how it sounds.
Movements from the night before. The keypad by the door blinked expectantly. I punched in the code I'd memorized and stepped back as
Ooh, no sleep. I've probably seen it. You should tell me what it is, and I definitely won't do it.
movements from the night before. Cautiously, remembering Jean's methodical movements from the night before. The keypad by the door blinked expectantly. I punched in the code I'd memorized and stepped back as the door expectantly. I punched in the code I'd memorized and stepped back as the door swung open. Unlike last night, open. Door swung open. Unlike last night's mysterious black containers, this truck held rows of ordinary.
Yeah, I asked for the title, but you don't have to tell me. I'm just curious, and I definitely won't do it. You don't have to tell me, or you can. It's up to you.
I punched in the code I'd memorized and stepped back as the door swung open. Unlike last night's mysterious black containers, this truck held rows of ordinary-looking wooden crates. They were stacked neatly. This truck held rows of They were stacked neatly in crates. They were stacked neatly, secured with straps.
See, I like it too. I like it when we can do similar stories and hear how people interpret it, the way they tell the story or how they do the characters. I think it's always so much fun. Oh shit. I don't even know who's in the chat right now. It says there's one watching, I think, which seems about right. I don't know. Kind of nutty if there was like 4 people here. It says 3 for me too, but I think maybe one of those is me. Because I have to use... Because, I don't know, I'm still working at the streaming thing, so I'm looking at the comments on my phone. That's how I'm watching. So I'm watching the stream. Hey, if you're in chat, say hi. It's probably just you. Anyway, back to it.
They were stacked neatly, secured with straps, each bearing standard no strange and barcodes. Barcodes. No strange temperatures. No odd buzzing. Just regular freight. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Maybe not every shipment contained what.
If you don't say what the story is here, you can always just send over Discord.
A breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Shipping labels and barcodes. No strange No strange temperatures. No odd buzzing. Just regular freight. I let out a breath I hadn't regular freight. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Maybe not every I was holding. Maybe not every shipment contained whatever horrors Gene had alluded to. Maybe some days.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy how short the recording becomes once you've like done all the editing. Because I've had videos where they go for like an hour and a half and I cut it down to 50 minutes and I'm like, where did that 40 minutes go? Was that just me yapping or was that just dead space? Crazy work.
Maybe not every I was holding. I was holding. Maybe not every shipment contained whatever horrors Gene had alluded to. Maybe some days were just normal. The manifest indicated these were textile supplies for various retail locations across
Alright.
3 streets.
Sick. All right, I'm game for that. Game for that story of yours. Well, I'm game for your narration.
I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Maybe not every shipment contained whatever horror. Maybe some days were just normal.
Normal. The one thing I'm not looking forward to is trying to get all the music in this. Well, looking forward to it, but trying to get it right is going to take some time. Don't expect this to come out quite soon.
Normal. The manifest indicated these were textile supplies for the manifest indicated fabric bolts for The manifest indicated these were textile supplies for various retail locations across the 3 states.
I've done it where I've had audios for stories and then I get to the end of it and I'll go through the editing. And I mean, this is no diss on the writers, but I start to listen back and I just don't find it very interesting, I think. Or I just listen back and I don't know if I want to put in the work, the extra work, if I feel like it's just I'm not going to enjoy it. So why, if I don't enjoy it, how are people going to enjoy it, I suppose? And again, it's not on the writers. I think it's such a different medium once you bring it to the audio format.
Across the 3 states. Fabric bolts, perhaps. Sewing machines. Things a company called the Proud Tailor might legitimately ship.
This story I'm working on now, like I've already worked on one of this guy's stories and I really liked it, so I thought I'd give it a read. But you know, even in something like this, there's moments where I could be like, I've said this phrase a few too many times, like a different phrase might work better here or blah blah blah. But I don't know, that's just me being a bitch, I suppose.
The Proud Tailor might legitimately ship. I worked efficiently, scanning things a company called the Proud Tailor might legitimately ship. I worked efficiently, scanning each crate and moving it to its forklift. The forklift hummed beneath me, comfortingly mundane. For nearly an hour, staging area. The forklift hummed beneath me, comfortingly mundane.
Yeah, the stories where I've requested permission and I've done them and I've just never released them. And I always feel bad because I'm like, I'll send you a link when I'm done. And then I feel really guilty because I never end up sending them off. Which, you know, I've been on the other side of that. Like I've done stories and people have said, hey, can I read this? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. And then like I'll just wait. It'll be like 2 months later and I go, oh, I guess that's not happening anymore. Well, never mind then.
Comfortingly mundane. For nearly an hour,
what I mean by like different phrases, like one very common phrase you hear in a lot of stories, especially on No Sleep, is I felt a chill down my spine. But then you'll hear that maybe like 10 to 15 times during a recording and you kind of capture it because you're saying the words and you'll go, I've said this a lot. And you know, you kind of feel like maybe the writer has kind of it's been such a long process for him that they kind of forget how often they've said certain lines. So sometimes I'll read it and I'll go, oh shit, this is, I feel like people are going to hear this and go, oh, didn't you say this like 12 times already? Which is fine, whatever. I don't mind it. It's still fun.
Comfortingly mundane. For nearly an hour, I allowed myself to believe I was simply working a regular warehouse job. One that happened to pay extraordinarily well. One that happened to pay extraordinarily well for night shifts. One that happened to pay.
I'll tell you what, there's also some words, especially when it comes to the American accent, which I struggle to say properly. In the last video, the one that I literally just released today, there's this line that's North Shore Animal Shelter. And the amount of times I said that and had to redo it because I messed it up was nuts. I think it's the TH into the SH, North Shore. It forces me to use, it gives my tongue a bit of a workout. North Shore Animal Shelter. North Shore Animal Shelter. So yeah, I feel like if I wasn't doing an American accent, I feel like I'd probably be pushing out videos a lot quicker. But I get so held up on the accent and trying to get it right that I will re-say lines because I've messed up like little bits of it. So yeah, that's my bed and I am gonna lay in it. So
one that happened to pay extraordinarily well for night shifts. I thought I might be able to relax for a moment. I thought I might be able to relax for a moment. But I heard the staticky voice of Matt through the intercom. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
this is so sick. This is without any
New guy.
editing or like vocal change.
Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
This is just me cupping my mouth, and I'm really happy it turned out like this.
It is a priority shipment. It is a priority shipment. But I heard the static able to relax for a moment. But I heard the staticky voice of Matt through the intercom. New guy. Second
Now, let's do a little bit of play with this,
new guy.
because this isn't edited, but I still want to kind of give it a bit of quality, like a different sort of intercom quality to it. When I think intercom, I think kind of crackly. I think kind of a low frequency type of deal. No, high frequency. Remove the.
Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
Let's play. Let's play. Let's do it right here, right now.
New guy.
Separate this production a little bit.
New guy. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
So we've in the EQ, we already have kind of these different sound qualities to them. Old time radio.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
Not exactly what I'm after, but let's actually do our own sort of thing.
It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
Oh, maybe we could. I don't know if this will work. No, I don't know. Alright, hold on.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to...
Oh, hello, my friend. I don't know exactly how to pronounce your name, so I'm going to call you Smiley. Smiley. How are you, my friend?
Receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second ship...
Wolf howl whistle? Wind sound effects. So you're talking like, if I was to... Oh, I don't know how this would sound. Yeah, I'm good, Smiley. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're just we've been doing so much today. We've been doing pretty much 50% editing, 50% listening to Nexia's work, which is awesome. You should go check it out and sub. Right now, I'm trying to create a sort of intercom quality to just this particular
New guy.
text.
Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
So right now, it's only got a little bit of EQ fixed to it. But I'm wondering if it's possible to get kind of like a crackly noise to it. So I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure. Okay, there is a noise here. Whoops. This isn't exactly the crackle I'm after. Nope. Oh, that's dead. Okay, that's not what I want. Let's forget about it.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment.
Alright, let's leave that EQ for now. I'm sure there's a different... Maybe an echo might work.
Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
How does that sound?
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment.
Sounds alright.
Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
Smiley, where you from? Where are you coming from, man?
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B.
Snap through a few of those noise sound effects for a sort of radio tuning. Yeah, I could probably do that. I need to do a bit of research into sort of intercom type sounds.
B.
Just depends on how good it is. But let's say I applied this, make it sound.
New guy. Second shipment is...
Oh, actually, just so I... Oh, frickety frick. Maybe I should... No, okay. I'm gonna have to do that again.
New guy.
Okay. I just realized...
New guy.
Calm. I have to save my presets. Otherwise, I won't get consistent. I need to stay consistent. I keep hitting my mic.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
Alright. Let's save that and call that intercom.
It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy.
Alright, yeah, let's save that. Now I'm curious if we can add sort of like a reverb effect on it, just to kind of give it, I don't know, it might fuck it up a little bit actually. Let's try. Oops, nope.
Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
Okay.
It is a priority shipment.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, Nexia, I think I'm eating. I think we're eating. I think we're cooking. I think we're cooking and we're about to eat, okay?
New guy.
That is,
New guy.
maybe the echo could be a little bit smaller.
Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
That is beautiful. I'm actually really surprised at how that came out. Hold on, maybe tweak it a little bit more.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on. New guy.
Ja 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 ja. I agree. It is a ja 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 moment.
Second shipment is ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I think that's we're popping off.
It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let's name it this. Okay, because we lost some of the audio
through the intercom. New guy. Second ship.
Maybe I should amplify it a little bit, just to give it a little bit more weight to it.
New guy. Second shipment is ahead of schedule. It is a priority shipment. Get down to receiving bay B. Get a move on.
Oh, come on. Nexia, it's one of those... it's just one of those happy accidents, you know? I mean, glory to God and all that, you know? This is what I live for. These are the moments that keep me making. Chat, clip that. Nexia, clip that. That was awesome. Put that in the montage.
Get a move on.
Alright, I'm gonna mark this so I know I've re-edited this.
I was not even done with the first. Get a move on. I was not even done with the first load, and now the next one was already coming.
And look, I'm gonna be real. This one line, call me a child, sure. I found it funny.
I was not even done with the first load, and now the next one was already coming. I was starting to get stressed out.
Let me tell you, when I heard that and I said it to myself the first time, I had to stop. Just for a moment. Hey, you bring up Bob Ross. We did see Bob Ross in the live streaming on YouTube, which is crazy.
I was not even done with the first load, and now the next one was already coming.
Of course it was. How are people meant to take me seriously with this kind of...
I was not even done with the first load, and now the next one was already coming.
Ridiculous. Anyway, let's grow up, hey?
I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling behind. I
like this breath, so I might actually keep that breath in.
I was starting to get stressed.
Maybe not. Not with this sound. Okay, never mind. So yeah.
I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling behind.
It's a good line. It's gonna go, you know, down as a classic.
The first load, and now the next one was already coming. I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling behind. I was already coming. I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling behind. I rushed to bed.
Just keep in mind that I've already done a bit of editing on this video, but this is what we've covered today. This is just today, right?
She whispered, her breath hot against my ear. I stared at my reflection in the small mirror above
This is
the
what
sink.
we've done so far.
Pale face,
This is today. This is all that we've done today. Right. But you know what? When I'm not streaming, this will be easy, sorted, finished. It's only 3 hours. Just under 3 hours of content to go through. Kill me. Alright. Yikes.
I was not even done with the first load, and now the next one was already coming. I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling
Yeah,
behind.
no, we did a lot today. Okay, we've looked over some stuff, which was good. You know, looked at some of your work, had a good laugh. Haha. Now we're cracking down to the heavy stuff, and well, here we are.
I was starting to get stressed out that I was falling behind.
That's already added to.
I rushed to Bay B, maneuver as I rounded the final aisles. As I rounded the final corner, I caught sight of the back of a sleek, black truck, similar to the first one I'd seen last night. My heart immediately began to race, knowing what might be inside.
Next, you're in the States, right? Isn't it like... Well, you're on the West Coast, so maybe it's not as late as I think it is. If it's 4 o'clock... Is it like 11 p.m. where you are? No worries. No, it's alright. Thank you for making quality content.
Side. Just as my heart immediately began to race, knowing what might have been last night. My heart immersed out that I was falling. I rushed to as I rounded the final corner.
Yeah. Oh man, what a guess. What a guess.
As I round.
So I always upload at a specific time because I'm trying to catch the US day. But actually, that's such a good question. When do you upload? Because I feel like there must be like a good time to upload videos, especially with this sort of video. I can't tell whether it's better to upload like closer to the morning or further in the afternoon. I don't know.
At the final corner, I caught sight of the back of a sleek, black truck, similar to the first one I'd seen last night. My heart immediately began to race, knowing what might be inside. Just as I approached the loading dock, the forklift sputtered, the engine making a high-pitched whining sounds I hadn't heard before. The control panel.
Also, you should consider doing editing streams just for fun. 9 in the morning? Yeah. So you upload at 9 in the morning, but I upload at about 2 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard, which I think 2 a.m. I think it's about midday over in DC, or 10. I forget. I think it's midday in DC. So it must be early morning for you guys.
The control panel flickered, lights blinking erratically across the dash.
Yeah, I mean, you send me your analytics. I mean, it might not help me, just depending on who's viewing it, but...
The control panel flickered, lights blinking erratically across the dashboard. I tried to slow down, but the control I hadn't. The engine making a high-pitched whining sounds I hadn't heard before. The control panel flickered.
That's all I'm doing. I'm just mumbling to myself. Well, I'm mumbling to you. Thanks for listening.
Lights blinking erratically across the dashboard. I tried to slow down, but the machine lurched forward suddenly. Across the dashboard. I tried to slow down, but the machine lurched forward suddenly, as if pushed by an invisible hand. I yanked the steering wheel to the right, narrowly avoiding a stack of pallets.
Another word I struggled with.
The forklift shuddered violently beneath me.
Narrowly.
I yanked the steering pushed by an invisible hand. I yanked the steering wheel to the right. I yanked the steering wheel to the right, narrowly avoiding a step. The forklift.
Monday mornings. There was a period of time where I was kind of just randomly uploading whenever. Usually closer to midnight for me. But I don't know if it ever really matters that much. I just try to get it where people are more likely to be online.
Stack of pallets. The forklift shuddered violently. I yanked the steering wheel to the right, narrowly avoiding a stack of pallets. The forklift shuddered violently beneath me, the hydraulics screaming in protest. Then, without warning, the lift dropped, not smoothly as designed, but in a single catastrophic release. They slammed into the concrete floor with a
That slammed is good.
They slammed into the concrete floor with a deafening crash. They slammed into the concrete floor with a deafening crash. Sparks flying as metal scraped against concrete.
See, I would upload them as soon as I finish as well, but I'm always uploading them late because I'm always finishing them late. This one's gonna be a fucking pain. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I was thrown against concrete. I was thrown forward against the safety cage. I was thrown forward against the safety cage, my chest hitting the steering column hard enough to knock the wind out from my lungs. I was thrown forward against the safety cage. I was thrown forward against the safety cage, my chest hitting the steering column hard enough to knock the wind out from my lungs. My chest hitting the steering column hard enough to knock the wind from my lungs.
I did this whole line twice because I missed out on one word.
The wind out from my knock the wind from my lung.
I added out.
The wind from my lung.
Man, I like this take too. Maybe I'll just give it. Whoops.
To knock the wind out from my lungs. The forklift.
Too much space.
My lungs. The forklift continued its chaotic movement, spinning in a half circle before the engine cut out completely, leaving me stranded in the middle of the bay.
No worries. I'll be here all week.
The bay. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Matt's voice boomed. What the hell are you doing?
Nice. He's angry. That's what I was after.
The bay. What the hell are you doing? Of the bay. What the hell? What the hell? Matt's voice. I turned. Doing. Matt's voice boomed.
That's alright. I'll probably end stream soon because I got other stuff to do as well.
Matt's voice.
But if you're back, then you're back.
Boomed from somewhere behind me.
Oh, the kitty catch. Gotta feed the kitty catch. Good choice. Meow meow. Wee wee wee.
Behind me. I turned to see. Matt's voice boomed from somewhere behind me. I turned to see him storming across the warehouse floor, his face contorted. I didn't. The forklift just. Rage. Rage. I didn't. The forklift just. 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 I stammered.
Nice.
I didn't. The forklift just. Forklift just. I stammered, still trying to catch my breath. Catch my breath. Matt reached me. My breath. Matt reached me. Cliff just. To catch my breath. Matt reached me in seconds, his weathered face inches from mine. Get off. Now.
Whoa. He's rough, bro.
Get off. Now. Get off. Now. Get off. Now. Now. I scrambled down from the malfunctioning vehicle. Now. I scrambled down from the malfunctioning vehicle, my legs shaking. Matt circled the legs shaking. My legs shaking. Matt circled the forklift, examining it with narrowed eyes. He ran his then knelt. He ran his hand along the control panel, then knelt to This equipment was checked yesterday. This equipment was checked yesterday, he muttered, more to himself than to me. This equipment was checked yesterday. This equipment was checked yesterday. This expects the dropped forks. This equipment was checked yesterday. This equipment was checked yesterday, he muttered, more to himself than to me. Then his gaze snapped back to my face, eyes cold and calculating. Eyes cold and calculating. Goddamn interferences. Were you near any red-tagged containers earlier? No, I answered truthfully. I've been unloading the one marked and calculating. Goddamn interference is worse than normal. Goddamn interference is worse than normal. Were you near normal? Were you near any red-tagged containers earlier? No. Earlier? No. Earlier? No, I answered truthfully. I've been unloading the one marked textile shipment so far. I've been truthfully. I've been unloading the one marked Matt's jaw so far. Shipment so far. Marked textile shipment so far. Tagged containers earlier? No. Goddamn interference is worse. I've been unloading the Matt's jaw tightened as he glanced toward the black truck waiting at the bay. Well, the timing of this is awful. Well, the timing of this is awful. He pulled a radio from the bay. Well, the timing of this is awful. Well, the timing of this is awful. He pulled a radio from his belt. Gene, we need you at Bay B. Equipment failure. There was no. He pulled a radio from his belt. Gene glanced toward the black truck waiting at the. Well, the timing of this is awful. Well, the timing of this.
Like that one better.
This is awful. He pulled a radio at the bay. Truck waiting at the bay. Well, the timing of. Well, the timing of this is awful. He pulled a. Gene, we need you at Bay B. Equipment failure. There was no response.
Oh, actually.
Failure. There was no response. Just static. Failure. There was no response. Just static. Right. He sighed. Ah, right. Static. Static. Ah, right. Ah, right. She's off today. Ah, right. She's off today. The back door. Today. The back doors of the. Off today. The back door. The back door. The back doors of the black truck swung open on their own, revealing the now familiar darkness that seemed deeper than it should be. A soft, rhythmic should be. A soft, rhythmic thumping sound emerged from within, like something repeatedly striking the interior wall. Matt cursed the interior wall. Matt cursed under his breath. Fuck. Those need to be moved immediately. Fuck. Those need to be moved immediately. Temperature sensitive. He turned to me. You'll have to move them. Fuck. Those need to be moved immediately. His breath. His breath. Those need to be moved immediately. Temperature sensitive. Immediately. Temperature sensitive. He turned to me. You'll have to move the men. He turned to me. You'll have to move them manually. Manually? Have to move manually? I echoed, my voice cracking. You mean carry them? Manually? I echoed. Manually? I echoed, my voice cracking. You mean carry them? You mean carry them? You mean carry them? You mean carry them? Manually? I echoed, my voice cracking. You mean carry them? Manually? Manually. Move them manually. Manually? I echoed, my voice cracking. Manually? I echoed, my voice cracking. You mean carry them?
Yeah, sick next year. Just vibe. I'm just doing work.
I echoed, my voice cracking. You mean carry them? Carry them? The dollies are in the main. Carry them? The dollies are in. Carry them? The dollies are in the maintenance closet. The dollies are in the maintenance closet, Matt growled. The dollies are in the maintenance closet. The dollies are in the maintenance closet, Matt growled, pointing toward a narrow door across. The dollies are in the maintenance closet. Pointing to Matt growled. Maintenance closet, Matt growled. Carry them? The dollies are in the maintenance closet, Matt growled.
I don't know.
Dollies are in the maintenance closet. Carry them? The dollies are in the maintenance closet, Matt. Maintenance closet, Matt growled, cracking. I echoed, my voice. You mean carry them? Dollies are in. Matt growled, pointing toward a narrow door across the warehouse.
Yeah, orange cats be like that, hey. They're kind of nutty.
Pointing toward a narrow door across the warehouse. Grab one, quick.
Oh, Jesus. Matt, why so angry?
Grab one, quick. I jogged to the. Quick. I jogged to the closet. I jogged to the closet. My mind racing. Manual handling meant direct contact with. Manual handling meant direct contact with whatever. Mind racing. Manual
Yeah, he sounds really grumpy.
Grab one. Quick.
I don't know. I try to differentiate these voices a lot, especially there's a few in here that are, feminine or masculine, and just trying to find one that, and also like accents wise, I try not to stem too many different accents because it kind of sounds weird. But there is a British accent in this one as well, closer to the end. And he sounds like this. The way he talks. It's so high and regal. But when he talks and he gets angrier, perhaps he comes down here. But Matt always talks with a bit of growl. He's always kind of mad. He has no patience, and he just wants the work to get done. So, crazy. And yeah, maybe he's just a really short garden gnome. Maybe that's how I'll picture him. So every time he walks into the scene, he's just, get the work done.
I jogged to the closet, my mind racing. Manual handling meant direct. The thought made my skin crawl. The thought made my skin crawl.
So this line, skin crawl, I think happens quite a few times in this story.
Whatever those black containers held. The thought made my skin crawl, but I had little choice. Matt was watching my every move. Had little choice. Matt was watching my every move with increasing impatience. Inside the closet. Inside the closet, I found several heavy-duty dollies designed for oversized freight. I selected the Inside the closet, I found several heavy-duty dollies designed for oversized freight. I selected the sturdiest-looking one and wheeled it back to the bay where Matt stood, arms crossed, foot tapping rhythmically against the concrete.
No. I knew there was a burp in there somewhere.
Against the concrete. Remember the protocol. Foot tapping rhythmically against the concrete. Remember the protocol, he said as I approached the truck. Remember the protocol, he said as I approached the truck. No unnecessary contact. Move them directly to the designated contact. Move them directly to the No unnecessary contact. Move them directly to the designated area. He glanced at his watch. Now I need to make a call. Watch. I need to make a call. Get this done before I return. Matt disappeared. As Matt disappeared through a side door, I faced the yawning darkness of the truck.
Yeah, no, I've got music on Spotify, which I'm hoping is non-copyright, but it's not really going to affect me that much, which should be fine. It's a non-copyright YouTube playlist, so I just put on whatever. But it just gives me something to kind of gel to, because sometimes sitting in silence and listening to this makes me go crazy.
Get this done before I return. As Matt disappeared through a side door, I faced the thumping had stopped. Matt disappeared through a side door. I faced the yawning darkness of the truck's interior alone. The thumping had stopped, replaced by an eerie. I steeled myself. The first container.
I steeled myself.
Worse. I steeled myself and rolled the dolly up the loading ramp. Felt worse. I steeled myself. I steeled myself and rolled the dolly up the loading ramp. The first container slid forward. The first container slid forward, as if pushed. The first container slid forward, as if pushed by unseen hands, just like the night before. Up close, like the night before. Like the night before. Up close, without Jean's calming presence. The experience without Jean's calming presence. The experiences, the black surf. The experience was infinitely more unsettling. The black surface settling. More unsettling. The black surface, as I absorbed the light around it. As I positioned the dolly beneath one end. And as I positioned the dolly beneath around it. And as I positioned the dolly beneath one end, I could have sworn the container shifted slightly, adjusting on its own to maintain balance. I carefully I carefully tipped the container back, distributing its considerable weight across the dolly's frame. It was heavier than I expected, at least 300 pounds. As I began to pull it down the ramp, at least 300 pounds. At least 300 pounds. At least 300 pounds. Pounds. £100.
Alexia, if you're still dead, if you want to see my show reel for my acting stuff, let me know and I'll send you a link.
Pounds. As I began to pull it down the ramp, a vibration traveled up through the handles into my arms. A subtle, rhythmic tremor-like heartbeat. The container slid off the truck with surprising ease.
Wow, what
Almost
timing? What timing next year?
The container slid off the truck with surprising ease. Heartbeat. Like heartbeat. The container slid off the truck with surprising ease. A subtle, rhythmic tremor-like heartbeat. The container slid off the truck with surprising ease, almost eager to be free of its confinement. Surprising ease, almost eager to be free of its confined space. Almost eager to be free of its confined space. Almost eager to be free of its confined space. I guided. Almost eager to be free of its confined space. I guided it across the warehouse floor toward the staging area where Matt had indicated. I guided it across the warehouse floor, eager to be free of its confined. Almost eager to be free of its confined space. I guided it across the warehouse floor toward the staging area Matt had indicated. With each...
Wait, what are you talking about now?
With each step, the vibration grew more pronounced. When I reached the staging area, I carefully lowered the container.
Nexi, are we running on the same frequencies? Are you Are you playing this live right now? Or are you watching what you paused before?
Indicated. With each step, the vibration grew more pronounced. I guided it across the warehouse floor toward the staging area Matt had indicated. With each step, the vibration grew more pronounced. When I reached the staging area, I carefully lowered the container to the ground. As it settled onto the the vibration grew more pronounced. When I reached the When I reached the staging area, I carefully lowered the container to the ground. As it settled onto the concrete, a sound emerged within. A sound emerged from within. A sound emerged from.
Welcome back, Nexia. I'm glad we're on the same page. I was so confused.
A sound emerged from within. A kind of soft scraping, like fingernails dragging across the interior surface. Like fingernails across the interior surface. I jumped back. I jumped back. I jumped back, nearly losing my grip on the dolly.
Yeah, you missed all the confusion, which I was definitely showing because you started messaging and I was like, oh, what are we doing? Where are we?
Nearly losing my grip on the dolly. The digital display on the container flickered.
Sure.
The temperature reading. Nearly losing my grip on the dolly. The digital display on the dolly. The digital display on the container flickered. The temperature reading jumping from -10 degrees Celsius to -8, then back again. The scraping sound of 8, then back again. The scraping sound intensified for a moment, then abruptly stopped. I stood frozen, staring at the black box. Whatever sounded like black box. Whatever sounded like whatever it was, the realization, whatever like it was moving. Whatever it was sounded like it was moving. Whatever it was sounded like it was moving, scraping. The realization sent ice through my veins, but I couldn't afford to panic. There were still two. Whatever it was sounded like it was moving, scraping. The realization, scraping. The realization sent ice through my veins, but I couldn't afford to panic. There were still 2 more containers to move, and Matt would return soon. Forcing myself back to the truck, I returned soon. Forcing myself back to the truck, forcing this one. Forcing myself back to the truck, I repeated the process with the second container. This one was even the second container. This one was even heavier. And as I maneuvered, a thin sheen of condensation. This one was even heavier. And as I maneuvered it down the ramp, a thin sheen of condensation immediately turning to frost in the warehouse surface. Immediately turning to frost in the warehouse air. The temperature.
Alright. I've got other stuff to do, so I'm going to end the stream. But, hey, Nexia, legend. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciated all the work we got through today. So, yeah. I'll probably do this again. I might do some editing behind the scenes, and by might, I definitely will have to get this done. But, other than that, thank you so much. And I'll catch you on the next stream. If you ever feel like you want to, enjoy this again, this video will be uploaded on the live portion of the channel, so you can go and rewatch all the fun we had today. Alright? Thanks again. I'll catch ya.